What you could do, Norman, to ensure that people do it or die is you put them in a room with the animal, give them a knife, and lock the door.
Welcome to If I Were King, the podcast where two friends somewhere on Earth talk about the New World Order and other things, including, but not limited to, the lizard people. What kind of other stuff, Paul? Was it fun?
My friend I was talking to and I asked, hadn't talked to in a long time, and sent a text and said, how you doing? And she was like, I'm okay. And then I was like, how's work? She's like, I'm okay. So I was like, is she okay though? So I followed up.
So you did the right thing. You were a good boy.
Yeah.
You didn't just go like, oh, that sucks, see ya.
That sucks, sorry. Talk to you later. Yeah.
Well, okay, right. So, well, then let's get right into it. If you were your totalitarian dictator, tell me, what would you do?
Yeah, I have 4 words for you, Norman. Global obligatory Pizza Fridays.
I'm in. I'm 100% in.
Yeah.
Tell me more about this. How? Just expand. Tell me. I don't want to lead your train of thought. I just want to tell me what your train of thought on this is.
Yeah, basically from today onwards, basically every week, time indeterminate, pizza will be the only legally acceptable dinner food on a Friday night. Whether you're Uzbeki, Canadian, Azerbaijani, American, or any other nationality, we are one world, under God, indivisible, with liberty and pizza for all. God damn it. So.
I love this idea because pizza's great. You can have gluten-free pizza, you can have vegetarian pizza, you can have a super meaty pizza, you can have white sauce pizza, red sauce pizza. It's just so you can even get more creative and just make your own kind of sauce pizza.
Yeah.
You can have
barbecue.
Crazy Detroit style pizza and all that.
Yeah.
Well, this is a diverse food that I think would go along with the people of the world, Paul. I think the people of the world would take this on. How do you imagine this in practice?
Well, basically, I imagined that like a worldwide secret police would be established to ensure that people enjoy their pizza each Friday. So what that would consist of is different things, but like checking credit card statements to make sure that they bought pizza at a pizza joint. Or
so like on your taxes every year, you would like submit your Pizza Friday taxes to get rebates.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could get some money back if you ate your pizza.
It's a subsidized Friday meal plan.
Yeah, it's like a pony-powered economy. It's a pizza-powered economy when you think of it like that. Yeah, and so they'll check for if you went to a pizzeria on Fridays. But they'll also check for pizza ingredient purchases, and they'll also check with the gas company to make sure that you turned on the gas about 20 minutes on Friday night if you didn't pay for pizza from a pizzeria.
Paul, we don't all use gas for power. Jeez.
Well,
just the electricity.
In those countries or places individually where electric-powered stoves are used, a special meter will have to be installed. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So like half the world.
Yeah, pizza meters. Look at how much business we're going to produce with our pizza meters. That's a lot of business. We're creating jobs.
I like this too because there's already like a pizza place, whether it's good or bad, everywhere.
Yeah, pretty
much. So
like
all they would be is just absolutely slammed ass to the wall every Friday with how busy they were. All right. Like, yeah, you create a few jobs. Those Fridays would need some extra employees 100%.
Yeah.
Because people, yeah, man. And also, like, I think the diversity of pizza recipes in the world would go through the roof because people would also like just make their own pizzas,
Yeah.
And it would get real creative, man.
I think so, man. Yeah, there's some pretty just here, I mean, there's a lot of variety in it. Obviously, pretty popular in America.
What's
Obviously.
your favorite pizza place in Albuquerque?
I'd say there's two. Placitas Pizza Company is one, and the other
Mm-hmm.
is Village Pizza Company in Corrales, which is where I live specifically.
Yeah. Oh, ooh, yeah, yeah. Tell me about Placita's Pizza Company. Tell me about it. Why do you
Well,
say it's the best?
both of them I like probably about equally because they're both similar in style. Just because basically, if you order a pizza with whatever ingredients, toppings, I should say, they don't stiff you on the toppings. Like you get everything that you asked for, man. Like if you ask for whatever meat or whatever protein or whatever, and then whatever veggies and whatever the hell you want, you get a lot of those. It's not like one of those cheap pizzas where you look at it and go, "You fucking cheap bastards." But so basically, that's my reasoning, and it's delicious.
Uh,
But
all right. So is this topping heavy or topping quality we talking? Because there's two
I mean,
types
they're
of pizzas
quality
out there.
too. They're
Okay,
quality
the
too.
topping quality and heavy. Ooh, how much is a slice?
I don't buy slices. I just buy pizzas.
Oh, it's not
but
by the slice.
in the U.S., it's very rarely by the slice because it's more expensive by the slice.
Are you fucking serious? What are you talking about? What? Are you
Yeah,
what?
that's how it is here. Slices are,
What?
you know.
Sorry, have you heard of New York City?
Oh yeah, but that's different.
I didn't. So first of all, you're gonna have to tell me more about this because what? By the slice is rare?
Yeah, I mean, you can buy slices, but they can be pretty expensive when you do it that way. There are specialist pizzerias where you buy by the slice, maybe, let's say,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but you can also buy the whole pizza, and 95% of
How
everyone
much
buys
is
a
a
whole
regular
pizza.
like if by your typical by the slice pizza place in Albuquerque? What's one slice cost?
I don't really know because I don't usually do that. That said, I know that it could probably range from $2 to $3, maybe a bit more.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. Yeah.
But well, I don't
Interesting.
know. That's like $3.50 in Canadian, right? Or four or something.
Well,
Not four. 3.5 maybe.
yeah, okay. That's
kind of
really
a lot.
interesting. That's really interesting because like when I think pizza, I think like New York City and obviously like Italy. But when I think pizza by the slice, I think New York City, you know what I'm saying? So Italians, don't come at me. Don't come at
Well,
me.
see the thing is though, when you say that and you say like slice, you're imagining really big probably if you're doing pizza by the slice and calling it a meal. But
Well, no, I mean like you get one or two, maybe three slices if you're real hungry, and it's like a regular pizza split into 8 pieces, and 1/8 of a pizza per slice.
dude, the thing is though, we eat way more pizza than that in America. uh, dude, my brother and I absolutely demolish an entire very large pizza together, and they make big pizzas here in the U.S., so we demolish pizza, dude. So pizza by the slice doesn't really work with the calorie requests of the average American, even skinny Americans like me. Like,
I totally hear you, man. Like if I buy a pizza, like a full pizza, I will crush that shit.
oh yeah,
I will be a fat fuck.
Yeah.
But I'm just finding it so strange that you say that pizza by the slice is rare.
well, it depends on region of country though. Like you're saying,
Sure,
New
sure.
York, I'm sure they do eat pizza by the slice more there, but
So how about this to clarify my question? Is it hard to find pizza by the slice?
no, you can eat pizza by the slice at probably any pizza place in Albuquerque.
Okay.
That said, nobody does. It's just more expensive
That's
that
so
way.
weird. That's so weird. Okay.
Well, pizza. So let's, bringing it back into perspective. Another reason for global obligatory Pizza Fridays. Pizza brings people together, Norman. And how can you be together if you're eating slices alone?
Well, let me counter your fucking point right there. So my favorite pizza in Vancouver is Joyce Pizza. That's not actually what it's called. It has a real name, which nobody ever uses. It's called Super Great Pizza. People don't even know it's called Super Great Pizza. It's Joyce Pizza. It's beside Joyce SkyTrain Station, and that is fucking greasy, delicious goodness. And that place that's where you find a bunch of characters. Actually, in the last few years, it's changed to there's just always like it's just like a Spanish speaking zone now for some reason. And I really like it.
Yeah.
But you can make like people go in there because it's like where I live, it's quite a working class neighborhood. So like you get off the SkyTrain, which is our metro, and you just it's a couple meters across. It's literally across the street, and you'll see people just right after their shift going getting pizza. I went there recently, and it's cold as fuck right now in Vancouver. We're having like this got some like polar vortex action going on, so it's actually cold in Vancouver for once. But like usually the doors are open all year round except when it's snowing, and then everybody crowds in there. And it's like this super old school, like 1980s style, like seating, like the chairs attached to the table kind of thing. And everyone just kind of just mixes and mingles, Paul. But anyways, the pizza there is my favorite by the slice in Vancouver. I haven't been to New York City yet, but I've been told by people who have been to New York City and have had Joe's Pizza, it is the closest thing to a New York slice in Vancouver. And is my favorite slice of pizza in Vancouver. I will fight and die on this hill if anybody wants to challenge me. So Paul, I think what we're saying is the same thing, is that pizza does bring people together in different ways.
Yeah, I can agree with that. If you like it by the slice and your buddies like it by the slice, then okay. All I'm saying is, in the US, it's just not practical for the pizza volume demand that there is here. But also, it's just more expensive. It's not more expensive to buy it by the slice in Canada?
So for example, Joyce Pizza, OG as fuck pizza. Back in the day, we're talking 10 plus years ago now, it was like $1 a slice. Back in the good days. Back in the good days when things were priced reasonably. But now it's like $3 a slice. Now it's like $3 a slice, yeah. Yeah. Like a notable mention is like, it's called Fire Pizza. It's on Commercial Drive. That's the kind of place that has like crazy toppings, kind of what you're saying, like what you're telling your other place. I think it's great. I think it's fine. Like if I'm there and I'm like drinking, I will have pizza there, but nothing beats the greasy, delicious, gooey goodness of Joy's Pizza.
Gotcha, man.
So we'll go there when you visit.
Yes, exactly. That. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome. Did anything inspire you to do this recently?
Actually, it was when you and I were texting about pizza.
Oh
yeah. And then you remember that quote I said, basically like from the Pledge of Allegiance. I modified some words and said that earlier.
Oh, I didn't catch that it was from the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, no. Anyway.
I just thought you were just so wise.
So here's a quote from when I was texting you. So I said, I don't remember what your voice note said exactly, but my response to it was, "If I were a king, such injustices shall never occur again. One nation under God, with liberty and pizza for all."
Yeah, no, like I went there. I don't know, it was Friday or something, and I wanted to treat myself, and I was gonna get like, I don't know, 3 or 4 slices of pizza. I was gonna be a real fat fuck. But my favorite slice there is the mushroom bacon that they have. It's just top shelf. And I went there, and would you look at that? The universe was spinning around me again. There was 3 slices left, and I was like, that is awesome. And the guy in front of me, he bought like a whole box of pizza. And like he paid, and I was like, okay, cool. And then like he paid, he started packing up, and then he's like, wait a second. He like doubled back and got 2 slices of the bacon mushroom, and then like paid again. And I had to leave. Because I was like legitimately angry. like it was just like you could visibly see me just pissed. So I like went outside for a couple of minutes. I was like, unbelievable. I didn't want to be like a dickhead to like, my boss man at across the counter. He knows me. I'm a semi-regular guy.
Yeah.
But like I didn't want to be a dick to them, so I had to like cool down. I was like, all right, I cool down. I was like, I'll get not my favorite slices then. Fine. Just the disrespect. I felt so disrespected and personally attacked.
Yeah. There you have it, world. That is why I was thinking about this concept. It's because of Norman's pizza-related pain, PRP, and basically decided to do something about it as king of the world.
So, Paul, I also have something animal-related, food-related, rather, today. So if I were king of the world, I'd make it mandatory for everyone who eats meat to butcher the animal that they would like to purchase at least once in their life before being able to buy that.
Yeah.
Sort of a license, if you will. And this
Yeah.
would only apply once you're 18 plus. So like, I'm not going to
Okay.
make children butcher animals. They can obtain their license earlier if you know they want to.
License?
I do this because people have become quite like complacent and apathetic about like meat and like where meat comes from, and it's just kind of, people believe it's just a given that there should be meat and it should be cheap, but really, you know, meat used to be quite a special thing, quite a luxury, if you will. But since, you know, the Industrial Revolution, we were able to industrialize farming, and it is everywhere. But also with that, like that change in how we produce it, the maltreatment of animals that we can, you know, produce for food is went through the roof. Like it is not pretty what they do in those industrial farms. Yeah, so yeah, and also like meat's expensive for a reason, even though we already mass produce it, and even with the super inflation we're living with, it's even more expensive. What I'm saying is, as king, I recognize that it is cruel, and that people need to understand that meat comes from a place that's, you know, it takes a lot of labor, effort, food, water, resources to produce. And if we're gonna eat something that was once an animal, just like us on this earth, that you need to know the feeling of taking that animal's life yourself at least once to know the value of what you are eating. What do you think about this, Paul?
I think it's actually pretty interesting. Like, I definitely see the value in it. I also, my first reaction was when you said it, at what age are they gonna have to do this? And so it was good that you clarified that, because I was like, some 5-year-old is gonna be traumatized for the rest of their life and be a vegetarian forever.
Hey man, and you know what? And if they don't, if they're at 18 plus, and they can't do it, then you know what? That's a win for the planet. Eating less meat, that's less carbon into the atmosphere, less resources going into that resource-heavy industry. It's great. But you know, so what inspired me to do this is because I myself have butchered some animals. So the first time I butchered some animals was a few years ago. My friends have chickens, and they needed to cull some chickens. So they invited me over, and they're like, hey, we're going to butcher a bunch of chickens. And I was like, okay, new experience. Let's see how that is. And I thought the experience would like not bother me. I don't know why I just did. But actually doing it did kind of bother me a little bit.
Sure.
It was because it was like, oh, like you're holding this thing that's alive and then it's not.
Yeah.
And like you got, yeah, I don't want to be too grave, but like, you know, you gotta make the cut. You gotta make the cut, and you feel it with your hands and everything. It's very visceral, literally and figuratively. But after that experience, it made me kind of just appreciate or value, like, you know, the meat we eat from animals. And that's why I thought it was a good little lesson for myself to be like, you know what, I definitely eat a little bit less since then. You know, I try to be like, you know, I'm not gonna stop, but I'm not gonna just be like one of those people who just like, I gotta eat meat all the time. I'm like, you don't need to.
Yeah.
But it just gave me a little bit of perspective, and that's why I thought, if everybody did this in the world, at some point I feel like we would just produce and consume a lot less meat, and that would not only have benefits for, like, you know, our resources like water, which we really need nowadays, and then also carbon dioxide and methane from raising those animals. So I think it would have a lot of good effects at the end of the day. So not only would, you know, it would instill a good set of values and valuing what we eat, also it would be protecting the planet a little bit at the same time.
Yeah. We could all feel a little bit better and a little bit worse. But
well, some people be traumatized.
Yeah. Well, so question. Yeah. If you fail to kill something, are you then not allowed to eat that thing?
Exactly.
So, like, is that animal by animal, or if you fail one, you have to fail them all? Is that?
I want to say animal by animal because I think it would be more effective in that system of like producing less and consuming less, and I think that would be good for the planet long term because we need this. We need this planet.
So you have to like choose your favorite meat first.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, yeah, exactly. I mean,
Like,
there are a lot of meats out there,
Right.
but the main ones are obviously chicken, beef. Those are like the two big ones, but then there's pork as well. There might be lamb. What other meats? I'm not going to say this for
Turkey.
Yeah, duck, turkey. Yeah, yeah.
Boar.
I'm gonna
deer,
say
elk.
I'm gonna say
Bear. Alligator.
seafood. Exactly. So most people who do eat bear have hunted it. Have you ever eaten bear?
No.
I have had a little bit of bear because somebody I worked with hunted and they brought in like a bear kind of burger kind of thing.
That's awesome. Dude.
Yeah, it's gamey because it's game,
Yeah.
but it's good. Have you ever had venison or anything like that?
Yes. Yeah. And bison and I don't know.
Bison. But yeah, I think the system could use a little bit of fine tune. I think seafood will be off the table because I think that's a little bit different. Not because I don't think they feel pain, but I just think it's hard to do.
Yeah. They're under the sea. You have to make people obligatorily fish, or they have to be captured in such a way where they're still alive when they're brought back to shore so that somebody can murder them. That's horrible.
So what do you think of this, Paul? How do you interpret this?
Yeah. I think it could be good. Yeah.
Hey, do you foresee any difficulties?
God, it's complex because a lot of people would just not be able to go through with it, and they would still want to eat their meat. So, yes.
Yeah, there might become an underground black market for meat.
Yeah, the underground meat market.
Ooh, that sounds a little bit gross there.
It does. It sounds nasty.
That sounds more about humans than about animals there. The underground meat market. Ugh.
Yeah, I think you could run into some problems. I tell you.
I think the ends justifies the means, personally. I think the planet will be better off, and therefore all of humanity will be better off if this is implemented.
What you could do, Norman, to ensure that people do it or die, is you put them in a room with the animal, give them a knife, and lock the door.
We'll be back right after this. And we're back. Paul, Cultural Corner, go.
All right, the Pledge of Allegiance. I brought it up earlier, but it's a topic that I've given a lot of thought to over the years, and I think it is fucking really, really weird. Most people from democratic
Before you
countries-
continue, Paul.
Yeah.
We know, the rest of the world knows that it's really weird.
Yes.
And you guys do it.
That's... You're stealing my segue. That's what I was going to say. I said most people from democratic countries, maybe if they've watched American movies or TV with the Pledge of Allegiance, probably think that the extremely awkward and quasi-fascist practice of pledging allegiance to a flag have probably questioned why the fuck we're doing that and what on earth we're thinking. If you have, understand that there are people out there like me, Americans, who agree. What the fuck are we doing? Seriously, I think it's weird as shit. So I'm going to read it in full for you all, in case it hasn't...
Oh boy, okay.
In case it hasn't graced your ears yet. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Insert pizza for all there if you like it, though. That's pretty good. Pretty good change. So I thought I would go over the history of this. The history of
Okay.
the Pledge of Allegiance.
Before you do, tell me about why this came up to you. Why do you want to get rid of it if you were king, you know?
It's not recent. It's been for a long time. Just basically because I mean you have to say it every day in school in America. It's really annoying.
Do you?
Yes.
Are you serious? I
Yeah.
thought like that was a movie thing. I thought like that wasn't actually
No,
obligatory.
no. It is very real. It is.
Like through elementary school and high school and all that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What about in uni?
In the uni, no.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a thing that happens at a specific time of day, and not everybody's there at a specific.
What? It's at a specific time of day?
Well, yeah, it's like the first bell in the morning or whatever when you get to your
I
first
didn't know
class. Yeah. Like it probably varies a little bit by school, but yeah, it's like the first bell goes off, and then a little bit after that, maybe then they come on the announcement, the PA or
Really?
whatever, and say we're gonna say the Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody look at the flag, put your hand over your heart, blah blah blah. Well, you know to do that, because of
What? This is like some 1984 shit, dude. What?
isn't it? Yeah, like I
Dude,
know
it's like
that.
like blatant social conditioning. What the hell?
Yeah, I know that like people who like study abroad in high school and come to the US are like, what the fuck? Because they thought that, like you saying, they're like, I didn't know that was actually like a daily, timed thing that, yeah, it's weird.
Why aren't more people talking about this? I don't understand. What?
Dude, it's just been in a part of our culture for so long, I think, that people just kind of, it is a conversation in part because of the whole one nation under God thing. So it's a religious.
Yeah, because you guys are supposed to theoretically have separation between church and state.
Yeah, that's a joke. That is whatever.
That's really I didn't realize that. But yeah, I also thought it was just like it didn't like I thought it stopped. I thought you guys like I thought that was more like a 1940s kind of earlier thing. Like I didn't realize you guys do they still do it like today?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's so
When I
weird.
worked at a school, they did it, and I would always just stand around feeling really fucking awkward, going, "Why are we doing this?"
That's so weird. No, I'm just like a little bit shocked that like it seems so like the United States is so anti like federal state control kind of stuff and like but everyone just accepts the Pledge of Allegiance. It's like this weird mix of like the Pledge of Allegiance is like separated from the government.
Well, and
Like
that's
the
what
idea of the country versus like the actual people who run it are two different things, and that's like that pledge is like I love America, but not necessarily the government, which is interesting.
Yeah, which,
But
yeah,
it seems like a
that's
total way of like forced control, kind of like brainwashy kind of thing. It's so weird.
well, and that's what I kind of wanted to talk about too with the history of it is like it was written by a guy who was actually genuinely a socialist, like a socialist priest guy. But and so that's what's kind of so confusing about it is like it came from this like time and this political perspective that was like doesn't make sense nowadays, first of all, but second of all, like the same people who might be in favor of continuing the Pledge of Allegiance are also the ones who are very vehemently anti-socialist or whatever, according to their belief system. But yeah, it's just a very confusing thing, and I find it really fucking odd that we're still doing this. And even worse because we're making children do it. If it were like
That is strange, yeah.
if it would be weird if they asked adults to do it, and some people would probably do it still, but it's even weirder that it's like basically a quasi obligatory thing for children to pledge allegiance to a flag. I personally find that very strange at best.
It's also really weird because it's like separate from your national anthem because like your national anthem will play at a football game, NBA, hockey game, whatever. Like that's a regular thing. That's what happens before teams play.
And that's pretty much in a lot of countries.
But you
that
guys have this
happens.
separate entity thing. That's the Pledge of Allegiance. So weird.
Yeah. No, it's very strange.
Well, you opened my eyes a little bit. Like, yeah, I guess I also didn't really pay attention, or I was in the same boat with a lot of other people that you've mentioned that like, it's not a thing anymore. But it is alive and well. The Pledge
It is completely alive and well. And I don't understand how it isn't more of a conversation because, if you're a teacher or if you're a school employee of any kind, as I was at one point, and you're there in the morning and the announcement comes on and they start talking about how they're going to do it and then they start doing it and they're all like, face a flag, wherever it is, wherever you're standing, you look for the nearest flag. I just find it so strange. And it was just never even nobody ever brought it up.
That is weird, dude.
Yeah.
That is weird.
Isn't it
like
strange?
I feel like that if my parents all chose to move to the States and to Canada, like I feel like I would be so against it because I was just like such a shithead growing up and very anti-authority, and I feel like that would have rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah. I mean, there have been a lot of...
Are there some exceptions? Did you see that, like, when you were in high school? Anybody who was like, fuck this kind of thing? And, like, what happens if you don't pledge your allegiance?
So there's been court cases about it, actually.
Are you fucking serious?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They're children.
Yeah. Well, for one, largely because of the religious thing, because, some kid who's not Christian or whatever is reciting this Pledge of Allegiance where they're talking about one nation under God and crap like that.
Right, there are many gods.
Yeah, exactly. But also some people who are atheists, and then some people who just, don't want to say it, just don't say it and sit down or whatever. And then maybe in certain, let's say, conservative or Republican states and stuff like that, maybe some kids have gotten in trouble for that. And so there have been actual lawsuits about, why are we obliging people to do this? And then maybe in certain places getting them in trouble for it. Because that absolutely has happened, and there have been court cases about it, which I think is complete and utter nonsense. And it needs to stop.
That's really interesting. So, speaking of like the actual Canadian national anthem was actually changed a few years ago to make it gender neutral, and people kind of got in a little bit of a hissy fit about it. So it changed from, there's this one line that says, quote, "in all thy sons command," end quote, and that was changed with, quote, "in all of us command." That was the change. They made it from sons to us. But that just made me think about what you were saying about like the Pledge of Allegiance, like the little change and stuff. That's so interesting.
Well, and what's interesting is that, so the guy who wrote it, to get into the history a bit, his name was Francis Bellamy, and this was like 1892. So it says he was a priest, and he kind of like worked at magazines and stuff throughout his life, but he was a priest. And when he was like 37 back in 1892, he wanted to make a patriotic program for schools around the country to coincide with like a big event that was happening. But he lobbied Congress for a resolution to endorse the school ceremony with this. And a key element was to like add the Pledge of Allegiance. But he actually didn't write it with one nation under God, even though he was a priest in that. That actually came later. But, Congress got involved and like actually adopted it as part of, I guess it says, a national flag code. And basically that says in 1942 they adopted a national flag code. So basically after that point on, they started basically obliging students across a lot of the country to start doing it around that year. And
what year was that?
1942.
Interesting. It started in 42. That sounds so... Yeah, I mean, some patriotic... That was mid-war stuff, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. It was kind of mid-war. Because I think... Let's see.
Yeah, you could definitely... That was the time and place to push something like that through.
Exactly. And this is what I thought it was. So Congress, it says 1954, President Eisenhower. So he signed into law the under God part.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it was a, you know, literally 1892 to 1954, so 60 odd years later, they introduced the line with God in it. What I find really strange too is, especially after coming back from Spain, because I took a class there which was
Was it with
uh
Anchon?
no,
Oh, interesting.
no, it was, I don't remember her name now, but it was the history of Spain from the dictatorship through the modern era, in other words.
Ah,
So,
yes.
uh, but what I find even more strange is like coming back to the US after that, because I worked at the school directly after coming back from Spain. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, imagine like coming back from a country where you studied history and basically what you learned was that the dictatorship of Spain had like three branches of government. One was the military, one was the dictator himself, and one was the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church, their obligation under that governmental system was education of the populace and indoctrination effectively. And
Mm.
the way they did that was by having people recite songs, different literary things. They were obliged to recite pieces of literature, songs primarily, and sing that were reflective of the values of the dictator and the dictatorship and basically Catholic fundamentalist or extremist ideologies. So I just found it even stranger when I came back from Spain that we're obliging children to repeat. And you know what's really strange about it too is like you're saying, it comes out of a time when that type of shit was happening in the actual fascist and authoritarian dictatorships, was people were obliging. And the weird thing is the US in many ways at that time went through a lot of coming up with a lot of weird little fascist ideas.
Well, I mean, it was propaganda like central during the war, so like, and that was a-okay with everybody.
Yeah. Yep. um
And it was really interesting because I had a class of Anchon, and he spoke directly about this religious, like the religiosity, like the amount of, like how religious people are in Spain compared to the States. Because he said like in Spain, he was like, oh, here people say they're like whatever, they're Catholic or Christian or whatever, but nobody goes to church.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you go to the church, and he's like, and it's like, but when he was in the States, he went just to like see what's up. Full churches are full there,
Yeah. Yeah.
and like, and so it's like actually a part of like a lot of Americans' lives.
Yeah.
Versus in Spain, people just like they just kind of like passively say yeah, totally, and like not really.
Well, and that's why, because my mom is kind of religious. I mean, she grew up very religious, very religious. Like she had like an altar in her house when she was a child, and they prayed before bed, type of thing. But she's not so religious anymore. But she still like values it or whatever. And my grandfather, her dad, was Spanish American, but his family was Spanish and had been here since whatever the 17 or 1800s, something like that.
That's
But
crazy.
yeah, yeah. But so they were very Spanish Catholic, and that was kind of the idea of that. But so she was, very surprised when I told her that, like, no, in reality, most Spaniards, they might identify as Catholic, but they don't go to church. They don't practice really.
Mm.
But the thing is, it's because of what what their dictatorship was based off of. It was just extremist Catholic ideology, fanatical ideology that was pushed on the people, and they were obliged to sing in the classroom about, these fascist ideas and stuff. So it makes complete sense why they're not religious there anymore, even if they identify as Catholics. Yeah.
Paul, do you know what a house hippo is?
No idea.
You want to find out?
Yes.
It's nighttime in a kitchen just like yours. All is quiet.
Okay.
The North American house hippo is found throughout Canada and the eastern United States. House hippos are very timid creatures and are rarely seen. They come out at night to search for food, water, and materials for their nests. House hippos sleep about 16 hours a day.
Okay.
A message from Concerned Children's Advertisers.
All right. Now I know what a house hippo is.
So this is a absolute banger of a classic Canadian commercial. Everybody I guess now you have to say of a certain age, but isn't that old. This was it's a 1999 commercial. That's a little bit old, but it ran for a very long time, not just 1999, and it is. It's kind of like maybe another day I'll talk about what Body Break is, which is quintessential Canadian commercial, and I would say this is the same level of quintessential Canadian commercial. Almost everybody, who's seen this commercial, almost everybody knows about this. It is a meme in itself. It is amazing. It is the house hippo, and it is found in Canada and the eastern United States. Did you know that?
No idea. No idea. In the eastern U.S.
Paul, what do you think about this commercial?
I think it's hilarious. I think it's great. I still don't know what the product is, but what is the product? Is there a product?
Oh, it's a PSA. It's a PSA, a 1999 PSA saying, "Don't believe everything you see on TV."
It is literally just, yeah, that makes sense.
Does that ring true to 2022?
Don't believe everything you see on the television?
On the internet?
Yeah, it's just as valid now. I mean, it would have been valid in like the 1600s and still valid now. And then still valid in 1999 for sure. They just didn't have televisions, but that's okay. They had pamphlets and shit. Some propaganda gazettes or whatever, gazetteers.
Yeah, so this was like a children advocacy group, and they made this commercial for the government of Canada this is specifically targeting children, not like adults. Obviously, adults saw it, but that's why I think everybody around my age knows about this so well, because it was targeted right at us as like an educational kind of thing. But it was so funny. Like I think they did too good of a job.
Yeah, making it funny.
At it, because like at the very end, like even you missed it. You're like, what is this about? Because you were just having such a great thing. At the end, they're like, they literally say like, oh, this is, don't believe everything you see. Just, this looked so real. And you're like, yeah, it did look so real. And I stopped thinking after that. So it did like such a good job, especially in 1999. Like, that's a really good job.
Yeah, pretty silly, man. I think you're right, though. I think the comedy does kind of cut into the message of, like, it's so silly that... Also, I'm tired, but I just totally looked past that, the message.
What do you think about this quirky commercial? Like, do you have anything in the States where, like, if you were like, that everybody else would be like, yeah, totally, I totally know what this is? Or like a weird quirky commercial, or like weird PSA kind of messaging that everyone would be familiar with immediately, that's like weird and quirky like this, but like maybe even regional kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Forgive me, Norman, because I'm going to say it, but I think that the US did actually invent this one, Jenny. Not this one, but quirky commercials. At least on the TV.
Oh, invented quirky commercials.
On the TV?
I thought you were like the house hippo. I thought you were like shots fired.
Not quirky necessarily, but like ridiculous ads. Like a lot of people come to the US and they're like, your ads are hilarious here and our ads suck ass. Yeah. It's like that.
I agree. Like you guys have some I've seen what was it? One of my favorites is the taxidermy commercial. What is that one? Chuck Testa.
Oh, I do, but that's like that's distant memory. Wow, Chuck Testa.
That actually might even be like same era as House Hippo.
Yeah, yeah.
But you like, but that was like an international hit, Chuck Testa.
Yeah.
I think.
Dude, I'm gonna have to watch that after this because that's a long time ago for me that I saw that type of stuff. Oh yeah, nope, it's just Chuck Testa. Yeah, yeah. I remember the line. I don't remember the commercial though.
Yeah, me neither. I just remember it's taxidermy and nope, Chuck Testa.
Yeah.
Is there anything? But yeah, but like back to that, like, is there any commercials that like are super American that are ridiculous or funny like this that come to your mind?
Dude, there's a lot. I haven't really watched the TV to see a lot of ads lately though, but there's some really good ones that have been out in the past several years for, Purple mattresses.
They're like the online selling mattresses or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a few companies like that, but
yeah. Purple mattresses though, they have pretty ridiculous ad or series of ads about Sasquatch. So it's like Sasquatches and, they're more comfortable laying on a nice purple mattress bed or whatever. But there's ones where there's like a Sasquatch just beating a fish to death and then talking about the mattress while he's doing that. And, shit like that. There's some really ridiculous ones like that. And then in the US, of course, like Super Bowl Sunday advertisements are like really well known.
Oh, of course. How could I have missed? Of course, Super Bowl Sunday advertisements.
Yeah. But to be honest, a lot of those don't come out as good as, people hope for. I feel like. I don't know. There's been some years where they come out pretty good, but I don't really watch Super Bowl either, so it's been a while.
I mean, how many times have you heard, I watched the Super Bowl for the ads? How many times have you heard that?
Dude, hundreds.
A billion.
Do they say that in Canada? Do people watch the Super Bowl?
Oh, no. Oh, of course they do.
Serious?
Yeah. People watch American football here.
Really?
I would say more people watch NFL than CFL here for sure.
I'm surprised Canadians watch American football. Seems weird. DOMS?
As in delayed onset muscle soreness?
Yeah. Hit me hard as fuck right now.
Oh, nice. You've been working out recently, bro?
Always, dude. It's actually pretty bothersome right now.
Good. I'm glad you're sore. You're getting stronger.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's working.
So they say.